Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the meeting of the Cabinet, Staffordshire County Council, today, Wednesday, the 21st of February 2024. First item on the agenda is apologies. Do we have any apologies for absence, Mr Bradbury?
Good morning, Leader. I have one apology from Councillor Ian Parry.
Thank you. Item 2, declarations of interest in accordance with Standing Order 16. Are there any declarations of interest? For the record, nobody is indicating. Item number 3 are the decision notices of the meetings held on the 17th and the 24th of January 2024. Is it your will that I sign those as a correct record of the meetings? Move that. That is agreed. Agenda item number 4 is the Leader's Update. Good morning and welcome to today's Cabinet. Firstly, we welcome a new member to Cabinet today. Mike Wilcox joins us as the newly appointed Cabinet Member for Health and Care, following Julia Jessel's decision to step down from the post. As well as welcoming Mike, I would like to thank Julia for her tireless efforts on behalf of the Council and the residents of Staffordshire. Julia's background in the NHS proved invaluable in navigating the sometimes complex worlds of health and care, and she proved a great asset to Cabinet. Julia will remain an active county councillor, and I am sure she will have no problem filling the extra time she will now be able to enjoy. In the national news, the health of King Charles understandably continues to dominate the headlines. The King has visited Staffordshire many times and, as with many of the senior royals, has strong links to the county as the home of the National Memorial Arboretum. I applaud His Majesty for helping to raise awareness of the importance of health checks following his prostate treatment, as I am sure it will encourage others to seek medical advice if they are worried about their own health. We, of course, also wish the King well and his ongoing treatment and recovery for the unrelated cancer which was identified during his own medical procedure. Turning now to Council matters, I am pleased to say that following a full meeting of Council this month, our budget proposals and our medium-term financial strategy were carried. At a time when many local authorities are facing severe financial difficulties, this County Council remains in a good position, largely due to the good financial management and firm understanding of the risks. This means that we can set a balanced budget for 24-25 and are working hard to ensure that our position over a 5-year period to 28-29 also remains balanced. At this time of year, the county's highways receive a lot of attention. As with every other authority, it is an ongoing challenge to maintain our roads. This is made even more significant in Staffordshire because we have one of the largest networks in the country. All of us here recognise the importance of a good, connected road network for our residents, businesses, and for delivering our economic growth programme. As well as making additional investment to tackle issues like potholes, we also have some major improvement schemes underway, including the A52 Ashbank Road, Warrington, and the A53 Newcastle Road, Loggerheads, and the A511 Horninglow Road North, Burton. The multi-million-pound A38 Branston Interchange project also gets underway, and this will improve traffic flow, reduce congestion, and increase capacity, providing key transport infrastructure for the ongoing homes and employment development at Branston Locks and supporting Burton's future economic development. As an aside, I would ask people just to have a bit of patience. Some of these things take a little time, but afterwards the improvements are noticeable. So please be patient. That improvement work is ongoing. The efforts of our dedicated trading standards team to protect people in Staffordshire has attracted national television coverage in recent months. Their work ranges from warning people about scams to helping to seize counterfeit goods to working with partners to carry out raids on premises selling illegal vapes. The growth in vaping has increased rapidly in recent years and can be used as an aid to quit smoking. However, this council remains concerned about sales of illegal vapes and the growing popularity of vapes amongst children. We therefore welcome government plans to ban the sale of disposable vapes, which are particularly attractive to younger people. The new powers being introduced will restrict flavours which are specifically marketed at children and ensure that manufacturers produce plainer, less visually appealing packaging. The powers will also allow government to change how vapes are displayed in shops, moving them out of sight of children and away from products that appeal to them, like sweets. Finally, we all know what a fantastic place Staffordshire is to live, and now, thanks to our We Are Staffordshire campaign, we will soon be spreading the word even further. I am delighted that Staffordshire has become the first UK location to join the City Nation Place Advisory Board. Joining this network of leading decision makers from place brand, economic development and destination marketing organisations from around the world. So this is a real coup for the county. And in addition to that, Lichfield City has been designated as the first venue for their meeting. Now turning to today's agenda, the next item is agenda item number 5, which is minutes of the meeting of the Property Subcommittee held on the 7th of February 2024. Can I move that as a correct record of the meeting?
Agreed.
It is so moved. Agenda item 6, Staffordshire means back to business, brought to you by the Deputy Leader and Cabinet Member for Economy and Skills, Councillor White.
Thank you very much, Leader, and thank you for not stealing any of my thunder this month. I haven't had to cross a single thing out. So a few things that I'd like to update Cabinet on this month. Firstly, as always, I'll provide the latest update on universal credit claimants in the county. The universal credit claimant rate in Staffordshire currently stands at 2.9% of the working age population. That is far lower than the West Midlands average, which is running at 4.9%, and the average for the whole of England at 3.8%. As always, I would remind anybody who is looking to secure a job or to move jobs that the County Council offers an excellent jobs brokerage service which will help link them with not only career opportunities but also with skills and training packages should they require them. Within that universal credit count, the youth claimant count in Staffordshire saw an increase of 60 claimants last month and now sits at 4.6% of that population. Again, that is lower than the national rate, which is at 5.1% across England, and the regional rate of 6.9%. So Staffordshire continues to be a very good place to secure a job and indeed to secure a highly fair. So the three areas that I'll focus on today demonstrate that quite well, I think. The first of those is tourism. So I'm very pleased that we have recently hosted our Enjoy Staffordshire Tourism and Good Food Awards at the National Memorial Arboretum, one of our national attractions here in the county, and it was the biggest ever. We had over 140 entries across 19 categories, and the range and the quality of them was superb. So it's great to see such a busy and active tourism and hospitality sector in the county. The winners of those various categories, many of them will go forwards to the National Visit England Awards for Excellence in June 2024, where we have a pretty good track record, colleagues. So I'm very hopeful that we might bring home some silverware for the county in June. In addition to that, we are currently recruiting for a chair for our local visitor economy partnership. This is the successor to Enjoy Staffordshire, and one of our big successes on the national stage in tourism, being recognised nationally as one of the key parts of the country for the tourism sector. Happily, that means that I will be making myself redundant because I'm currently the chair of Enjoy Staffordshire and the interim chair of our local visitor economy partnership. With that in mind, I would encourage anybody who might be interested in taking on that chairman's role to find the details of that, which are very easy to find. You Google Local Visitor Economy Partnership Chairman Staffordshire and apply. Applications close on the 1st of March. I know we've had some very good applicants already, but we would like to see more. Making myself redundant in that respect will be a great pleasure when the time comes. The second item that I would highlight relates to the change in our activities supporting businesses across the whole of Stoke-on-Trent on Staffordshire, currently delivered by our local enterprise partnership. This has been a big success story in Staffordshire since its inception in 2011. The LEP has been a great meeting place for business and local government, and indeed skills providers and academic institutions to help make the decisions about how we help develop our economy, focused on highly skilled and highly paid jobs. I think that high level of employment we were discussing earlier illustrates that success. The other thing the LEP has been instrumental in is delivering many funding for many projects across the county, There is not a place in the county that has not benefited from the good work of the LEP. But that time has come to an end. Government has decided that the responsibilities and functions of LEPs should transfer to top-tier local authorities such as Staffordshire and Stoke-on-Trent City Council. But there are certain elements of it that we want to keep, particularly around the voice of business and their representation in our decision-making. So later this month, I'll be bringing some proposals forwards, and indeed the leader will be bringing some proposals to the Staffordshire Leaders Board as well, relating to how we continue that business voice element within our work. The other element of the LEP that we will be continuing to deliver, supported here at Staffordshire County Council, is our Growth Hub. This is a one-stop shop, and I think it's fair to say Swiss Army knife for businesses looking for any type of advice or support. It's a massively useful organisation that has helped thousands of businesses over the years, which we will be continuing to deliver here. The last inquiry I had relating to it was this morning. When I was on my way into work, somebody messaged me to say, I need some help because I've had a big order come in and I need some funding for it, straight to the Growth Hub. And they will help you find that. And any other question the business has, that's the place to go. So we will be continuing to support that, and more to come on that in the next few weeks. Finally, we are moving forwards with our lobbying activity for the A5500 corridor. Yesterday I was down in Westminster to deliver a letter to the Chancellor of the Exchequer, asking for some support in the upcoming budget for further developing a number of proposals along the corridor to help economic development and generate thousands of additional skilled jobs. In addition to that, I had a meeting with the Science Minister, supported by Kate Kniveden MP, one of our Staffordshire MPs, who's the champion for this corridor. And I'm pleased to say he was very supportive of our proposals. His focus is on research and development, and then the commercialisation of that. And he strongly recognised the case that the A5500 corridor has as a hotbed for that activity already happening, but something that we could do a great deal more of with a little bit of support from government to iron out some of the creases. So that's my update, Leader. An awful lot going, as there always is, and hopefully some demonstrable progress in various areas.
Thank you very much indeed. Any questions for the Deputy Leader? Nobody's indicating. So we'll move on now to agenda item number 7, Homes for Children in Our Care, brought to you by the Cabinet Member for Children and Young People, Councillor Sutton.
Thank you, Leader, and good morning, colleagues. Providing a safe and nurturing environment for some of our most vulnerable children is a priority for us. Most local authorities are facing challenges in this area, which is why it is important we plan effectively to help meet their needs. By proposing to open 6 in-house children's homes, we can ensure our vulnerable children will be taken care of in a home within the county, have better flexibility for those with multiple needs, and we can create more stability for children in our care to help them thrive. As well as this, by joining the regional frameworks for the provision of residential homes and foster care, we can be sure to have vulnerable children and young people in the right home that meets their needs and increase the number of children and young people who return to their family whenever possible. We work with children and their families to offer support and keep children with their parents or close family. Our aim is always to do this and keep children out of care when it is safe to do so. However, in some cases it is necessary to take children into care, and when this happens, our first thought would be to work with the family to find suitable relatives to assist, but if this is not possible, we will actively look to place a child with foster carers, thus ensuring the child is with a loving family. The foster carers may be either our own Staffordshire ones or work for an independent fostering agency. And this is where recommendation D, that is joining the West Midlands Care Framework, assists in being able to work with the region to get better value from independent fostering agencies. And being part of that framework will result in a number of advantages. In particular, as the contract is used when we need, we do not have to pay for voids. The pressure on the providers to accept, no pressure from the providers to accept inappropriate matches, and helps widen the market supply and helps monitor and maintain provider quality. However, on occasions, it is necessary for children to be in residential care, and most of this is via private providers. And this is where recommendation C refers to us joining the West Midlands framework for the provision of this. We have about 9% of our children in care placed in residential homes, and a bit like the fostering framework, being in this framework ensures we ensure best value. And then that brings me on to the main purpose of this paper, and that's a recommendation A, private provision. But for children with higher and more complex needs, then that placement with private providers can be challenging to sort, with providers being able to pick and choose and increasingly charge higher costs. And it's in this area that we believe the in-house will work. They will be small and will be able to place our children there without competition from other local authorities for places. And it will have considerable advantages in that we'll be able to keep children close to home, near their communities, school, friends and families. We'll be able to keep family ties, and this will improve the opportunity to return children where appropriate to home, and will reduce the number of breakdowns and also the number our staff have to manage at a distance. The business case for this is in more detail in the paper, but we anticipate that there will be a cost benefit as long as we can keep an occupation rate of around 75%. And in order to do this, we will need a contribution of 0.3 million from the 24-25 Transformation Fund, and that is what recommendation B refers to. Happy to take questions and then subsequently read the recommendations, Leader.
Are there any questions for Councillor Sutton? Can I just say how much I welcome this, Councillor Sutton? It's a great proposal. It's good to see you making progress on the provision of care and broadening out the scope of what is available to you and the children in your care. It is a challenge, the costs of keeping children in care, and to see us actually grasping this and saying, you know what, potentially we can do something ourselves is really, really welcome. And I'm delighted to see you brought this report this morning. I wish you the very best of luck in developing this out, and I look forward to further progress updates as you take this project forward.
Okay, Leader, thank you. Thank you for those very supportive and helpful comments. In that case, I'll read the recommendations. Recommendation A, endorse the proposal to open 6 in-house local authority-run children's homes. B, contribution of 0.3 million in 24-25 from the Council's Transformation Fund to meet upfront costs incurred during the transition process, invest to save. C, endorse Staffordshire County Council joining the West Midlands framework for the provision of residential homes from October 2024. And finally, D, endorse Staffordshire County Council joining the West Midlands foster care framework from April 2024.
You've heard the recommendations. All those in favour?
Agreed.
That is unanimous. Moving on then to agenda item number 8, which is Green Solutions, Staffordshire County Council delivery of the pilot Business Energy Advice Service, brought to you by the Deputy Leader of the Council and Cabinet Member for Economy and Skills, Councillor White.
Thank you very much, leaders. So this is good news for Staffordshire. We've been approached by the West Midlands Combined Authority to join forces with them in delivering this project in Staffordshire. It's a national scheme. The Combined Authority has received a significant amount of funding for, that funding comes with rather tight timescales in terms of delivery. The purpose of it is to assist businesses with reducing their energy consumption through carbon literacy training, but also crucially with grants of up to £100,000 per business to help them decarbonise. Now, that figure of £100,000 is quite unusual. Typically, these sort of schemes offer much smaller amounts of money, so this opens up a range of different opportunities, particularly for medium-sized businesses. to be able to decarbonise their business in a way that's affordable to them. So this scheme will have £2 million worth of funding for Staffordshire, and it's intended to support around 300 businesses in the county area and also in Stoke-on-Trent. What's unusual about this decision that you're being asked to make today is that it's a retrospective decision. This offer from the Combined Authority came in rather late and with rather rapid timescales attached to it. So we needed to indicate our willingness to participate in it ahead of being able to bring it here to Cabinet. So in consultation with the leader and also with our Director of Corporate Services and Chief Executive, we did indicate our agreement to this, but we do need to bring it here today for you to ratify that decision. I hope that you will be able to do so. It is very good news for Staffordshire, but obviously with £2 million of public money being used, it is important that due process is followed. So my ask is that we retrospectively agree to participate in this scheme and deliver that funding to Staffordshire businesses. I will leave it there and answer any questions that anybody has. Thank you, Leader.
Councillor Tagg.
Thank you, Leader. Welcome this. I think the programme supports our drive towards net zero, which we're committed to as a council, but also it shows that wider leadership role we can take, collaborating with not only our public and residents, but also private businesses as well, which this is all about. I think those energy assessments will provide businesses with clear information on where and how energy savings can be made, and support them in that transition as they move towards that. And as you've said, Councillor White, is the £2 million external funding will be welcome, will be crucial to helping those businesses reach where they want to go, which is net zero, and will help us for our overall 2050 target as well. And I think also the point that it will stimulate investment in the green agenda and green jobs, I think is really, really important. And that expansion of the green economy, leading to higher skills, green jobs and growth, will be stimulated by this and that investment coming into the county, so I really welcome it. Thank you.
Councillor White and the recommendations. I think you've done those, haven't you?
Yeah, thank you. So the recommendation is that Cabinet grants retrospective authority following a member's decision notice to enter into a funding agreement with the West Midlands Combined Authority to become the primary delivery partner for the Stoke and Staffordshire region to deliver energy assessments and grants on behalf of the Pilot Business Energy Advice Service programme in the Stoke-on-Trent and Staffordshire region alongside their Green Solutions programme.
All those in favour? That's unanimous. Agenda item number 9, House Waste Recycling Centres Equipment Replacement Programme, brought to you by the Cabinet Member for Environment, Infrastructure and Climate Change, Councillor Tagg.
Thank you, Leader. This is part of the business case for bringing the household waste recycling sites back in under the County Council's control, and part of that was investing in a programme of equipment replacement. 4 JCBs have already been ordered and a couple of them have already been delivered. And this paper today is to approve 11 more JCBs for our sites, and due to the cost, obviously it's a Cabinet decision to do this. Bringing in the new vehicles will save £372,000 per year for over the 5-year period. These vehicles will use HVO, hydrogenated vegetable oil, so we'll cut down on carbon emissions, which is really good. And they will lead to a more efficient operation of our household waste recycling operation as part of our plans to improve them since they've come back under County Council's control. So this is a really positive story as well, because we're using a Staffordshire-based company for the equipment, the great JCB based within our county. And of course, waste minimisation is really crucial to our plans for net zero. And we need to ensure that as much material as possible is recycled and reused again. And this, having the right equipment in our household waste recycling sites, will allow us to do that and to do that even more. So I'm happy to move the recommendations.
Councillor White.
Yeah. Thank you, Leader. So very supportive of this. It's an excellent programme and part of our continuing efforts to improve our waste recycling service. And it was just speaking to that on a local basis in Burton that I just wanted to comment briefly. So I had reason to visit our local tip on Sunday. It was very busy. It was also rather rainy. My goodness, it was a well-oiled machine. So really efficiently managed by a really friendly team of staff who looked extremely smart, by the way, despite the type of work that they do. One of the new JCBs was there, also looking very smart. My 3-year-old son was delighted to see it. The most important thing, though, was Sunday afternoon, possibly the busiest time of the week, our third biggest town, it ran like clockwork. I was in and out in a few minutes. A really good experience, and that's exactly what we want to deliver for people, so that they, when they're using this service, for many of our residents, one of the few things that they really see for their taxpayers' money, I think, and this is a great credit to us. So more investment in this, very welcome, and anybody who visits Burton will certainly see how well we're spending it already.
That's the life of a deputy leader for you. Family trips to the tip on a Sunday. Well done. Councillor DeVille.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm delighted to endorse the Deputy Leader's comments, Leader. Simon, thank you for bringing this report, and I'd like to offer my thanks to the team for this seamless progression within our household sites. I think the focus is, and it's great news that additional machinery is being built, and great news that we've used a local Staffordshire company for that equipment. But I think the main focus, Simon, and it has worked, there's more to do, the main focus has been on greater efficiency, and our sites certainly are more efficient. Our recycling rates have gone up. But I think the main thing is that we've got a real focus on customer service. There's a real customer focus now within the new operation of the sites. Thank the team for that. Thank the Cabinet member for bringing this report this morning, and I'm very happy to support it, Leader.
Councillor Sutton, then Councillor Wilcox. No, it wasn't. It was Councillor Wilcox.
Thank you, Leader, and I endorse everything that's been said so far. This really is a great paper that's been brought to us this morning. I think what we're all trying to do in the districts and boroughs is to encourage our residents to recycle more. And the fact that we've got machinery that makes that life and that journey easier for residents, I think is to be really congratulated. I too visited our site at the weekend in Lichfield, and as always, the operators there are very well able to help people that have difficulties in moving stuff from their vehicles, etc. So I think it's a great paper. I think it shows that the commitment we have to doing more waste recycling in staff
is probably going to change massively over the next 12 months. So as they see them, there are recycling centres, minimisation of waste centres, and we've got some exciting plans coming forward on that, which keep watch this space. So do you want me to move the recommendation? Yeah. I recommend that Cabinet approve and agrees to officers undertaking a procurement exercise in compliance with the regulations of the Public Contract Regulations 2015, brackets, the regulations, close brackets, for 11 new wheeled excavator JCBs for the Household Waste Recycling Equipment Renewal Programme, an already established framework agreement procured for the Procurement Partnerships Limited will be used. I move those recommendations.
You've heard the recommend. Well done to get to the end of the recommendation. You've heard the recommendation. All those in favour? Agreed. That is unanimous. Right, agenda item number 10, Integrated Performance Report, Quarter 3, 23-24. Colleagues, you're aware that we are open and transparent with the challenges that we face. And we also celebrate when we're able to deliver a balanced budget because of a well-run council. In part, that's due to the honesty and the transparency we have with our reporting procedures, which come through things like the Integrated Performance Report Quarter 3. And it's this report which makes sure that we're honest with ourselves and honest with the electorates about the challenges that we face. The revenue forecast outturn for the portfolio budgets is an overspend of 5.4 million, or 0.9%, a reduction from the previous report of 2.3 million, so going in the right direction. The significant area of forecast overspend is within children's services at 9.3%. Sense that things are connecting and we're addressing the challenges that we face. This is a forecast overspend within. There is a forecast overspend within education services of £2.7 million, primarily due to send transport and the increase in demand and costs of the service. There's a forecast saving in health and care of £4.8 million, which is mainly due to vacancies in the residential care service and independence at home care services being funded from the Adult Social Care Discharge Grant of £2.2 million, and management of demand and prices, utilisation of one-off income and additional client income within care commissioning of £2.6 million. Economy, infrastructure and skills are forecasting to save £0.9 million due to vacancies in business, enterprise and skills, contract savings within skills and dry mixed recycling credits. Corporate services are forecast to save £0.4 million, mainly due to vacancies, and the capital programme is now forecast to spend £127 million, a decrease of £9 million since the previous report. This is mainly due to a decrease in maintained schools forecast of £8.9 million as schemes are rephased into future years. That's the headlines. What I'd like to do now is invite Cabinet members just to talk through their particular areas, and I'm going to start with Councillor Price.
Thank you, Leader, and good morning, everyone. So our pressures with the SEND demand and timelines continues, and we've developed a recovery plan to address the timeliness challenges and are working with the team to implement this. The latest information, which will be available in the Q4 report, will demonstrate a reduction in the number of children waiting beyond the 20 weeks time frame. As you will recall, our early assess plan do review model went live from the beginning of January, and this is already supporting. By working with mainstream and special schools, our approach seeks to provide the necessary support and capacity that will reduce the reliance on more expensive independent provision where this is not appropriate or necessary. Using the Department for Education's SEND capital funding, Staffordshire is creating additional provision in Staffordshire special schools based on a detailed analysis of need, specifically in relation to social, emotional, mental health needs, and most on a daily basis we are hearing of difficulties, whether they be for SEND provision or SEND transport assistance. As you know, when we approved the 2024-25 budget and the MTFS, two of the challenges we face were highlighted as SEND provision and SEND transport. It is really important that we appreciate the pressures we face. As a result of the ongoing overspend in the high needs funding over the last few years, the dedicated is estimated to be between 150 and 225 by the end of 27-28. Due to the current levels of deficits across the country, a government intervention has been brought forward requiring authorities to hold dedicated school deficits in separate reserves in the authorities' accounts. Whilst initially a temporary statutory override for the 3 years 21 to 22-23 due to the worsening situation, this has been extended to the end of 25-26. It is currently unclear how accumulated deficits will be managed beyond this time. And as I've set out, we are taking actions here in Staffordshire to mitigate those challenges. However, I am continuing to raise these issues with our MPs and government ministers, as well as supporting F40 in raising concerns. The actions to address these challenges locally are in their infancy, and actions nationally are only in their pilot phase. So in the short term, we continue to need support from central government. You will also recall our discussions about SEND transport, and we face similar challenges with our SEND transport budget. This is also forecast to be overspent by just over £3 million this year, placing pressure on our overall budget. During Q3, we received information that a review of the SEND transport is being implemented to identify any actions that may be taken to mitigate the existing demand and costs as far as possible. For example, to improve average occupancy levels and to identify the most efficient transport routes. Colleagues are promoting the take-up of personal travel assistant budgets and, where possible, reducing the need for single occupancy journeys in consultation with parents, carers and schools. I am, as is this Cabinet and this authority, committed to delivering the actions set out in the SEND Accelerated Progress Plan and the SEND strategy so that children and young people have their needs met earlier and in an inclusive education system. We know this will take some time for our strategy to be implemented in full, by which time the challenges we face will have deepened further. I do want to finish with a really good news story. So before Christmas, 2 more new primary free school presumptions were published, seeking expressions of interest from Academy Trust to run them. And I was delighted to be part of the interview process only yesterday. And what this means is that we have another 2 new schools opening in the coming years to meet the growing need for school places due to housing development and population growth. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you. Councillor Sutton.
So being in a position where we can offer every Staffordshire child the best start in life and the chance to achieve their potential is not only just part of our corporate plan, but it is actually something that is essential for people's success and the success of Staffordshire and the well-being of people going forward. Within the children's services world, we have 2 main challenges that have resulted in the cost pressures. One of them is the number and cost of children in care, and then the second one is around workforce and the cost of agency staff over and above our own staff. On the first of those, the number of cost of children in care, I refer back to the paper earlier and show how that is being looked at and addressed. And in relation to the number of children in care, over this period and the previous 2 periods, the number of children in care is slowly reducing, and we hope and expect that to continue going forward. But there are challenges, but we are working hard to address them. In relation to the workforce, the cost of agency staff and the high number of agency staff we've had recently has added to those costs. However, that is now reducing and is reducing substantially, and across most of the teams that is down at a very reasonable level, and the levels of agency staff are very comparable and better than most authorities. And we have taken on 30 been able to fill 30 social worker practice lead positions. So work in that area is starting to see results. The second area that I want to talk about is Ofsted, not in too much detail because that was dealt with in detail at the last cabinet meeting, but we have a comprehensive plan in place. We have groups both at the strategic and operational level looking at that in order that we briefly, and that's the Building Resilient Families programme, which is now called Supporting Families. That is progressing very well, and the number of families that we are turning 3 main school holidays that provides holiday activities and food for children entitled to free school meals, and that will again run through the Easter period and in the summer. So to summarise, work to do, but I feel that we are well on track. Thank you, Leader.
Councillor Wilcox.
Thank you, Leader, and I forgot to say good morning to everyone when I first came in this morning. Overall, I'm pleased with the performance in health and care. It remains good and above target. That's due, on the whole, to a lot of good work that's gone in with my predecessor. The one area I do want to single out, if I may, is the performance on the Timeliness of Care Act assessments and the brokerage, which has really been good most of the year. It's probably also worth just noting that we imagine demand is going to increase, costs and volumes are going to go up. So we are, albeit determined, working with the MPFT to look at improvements in innovation to make sure that we stay above that. On most of the areas we're above and in the green quartile, which is good for the service. But thank you to the help of both Councillor Northcott and my director, Dr. Harding. I'm getting to understand a bit more now about what's going on in the health and care arena, but certainly the position that we find ourselves in at the moment is one that is good and stable, and is part of my aim at the first few weeks is to get out onto the front line and meet the people that are delivering this great work for us in Staffordshire and understand that a bit more. So hopefully next time we come, Leader, I'll be able to give perhaps a bit more flesh on the bones as to where we are, but all overall good position on health and care.
Thank you, and I just want to echo your comments about the tribute to Councillor Jessel and the efforts that she put in. you've been handed a good portfolio, and there's still a lot of work to do, and it's a big portfolio. So I'm looking forward to hearing future reports from you. Councillor Williams.
Thank you, Leader. Despite the demands that we've had this year, especially with regards to the weather, we've got some positive news in the fact that obtained throughout, despite the fact that we've had 2.5 times more high-risk defects than we did in 2022. As well as these reactive defects, the council has also continued to successfully deliver its highway investment strategy, with over 18 capital structural maintenance schemes already completed to date and 2 already now on the way. We've also got some positive news in the fact that we've also been able to repair over 16,000 defects before Christmas, which means that the actual work stack has reduced for the first time in several years. We are not complacent with what we've been looking at, and work will still be going on, and we also have issues with regards to flooding and issues with drainage, which we are looking to address with the fact that we are investing in some extra drainage materials and machinery, and looking forward to the way that the transformation schemes, so that is enabling members and residents to both keep in touch and be made aware of what repairs are being done. And we are also very close now, just to let you know, to submitting our next BSIP application to DFT with regards to our public transport systems. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you. Councillor Tagg.
Thank you, Leader. Yes, the quarterly monitoring report highlights the progress made on the Climate Change Action Plan, that 12% reduction over the year, which brings the authority's emissions since 2020-2021 to 50% reduction, which is really, really good news. Also, we're highlighting the household waste recycling site van permit scheme, which has got over 10,000 permits issued as well, and really follows on from the item we discussed earlier over the new equipment for those sites as well. This is obviously the permit scheme is aimed to make obviously our household waste recycling sites, for Staffordshire people to use as a priority. Also in this period, the Climate Change Action Fund, which is a fund which distributes money via county councillors to community groups for climate action schemes, has seen 52 applications as well, totalling £33,500, which is really good. Another part of my portfolio is the role in the north east of the county, which is really good news. Challenges do remain on a high number of premises still under review, which need to have that broadband connection, but I can assure Cabinet members that plans to deliver these premises are still on track to reach the 85% coverage which we set out in our strategy by 2025. And for updates on that, I would urge members of the public and also Cabinet members to look at the Gigabit Staffordshire website and also see the constant social media updates on communities that are continually being connected to those, particularly in the rural areas, to those faster connections, so they can join the online shopping and the education and the running businesses from home, which they haven't been able to do in the past. Thank you.
Councillor Wilson.
Thank you, Leader, and good morning. Further to the Leader's comments in his statement earlier, just wanted to allude to the work of the Trading Standards team. As you'll know, we have had some really positive press coverage where over 3,000 items of unsafe food and drink products were seized. The Trading Standards Officer won a National Hero Award for her work on food safety, and that was presented to Alison Richardson at the recent Chartered Trading Standards Institute annual Hero Awards ceremony. And Alison has really demonstrated a real dedication to ensuring that food safety and protecting consumers is paramount in this county. And I do thank our Trading Standards team and the council for all it's doing in this area to help all of those who live here feel safe. Moving on to the library service, you'll have heard me waxing lyrical about the Summer Reading Challenge, where we've exceeded our starter and completer target. We had 10,675 children who signed up to the challenge, which is a 7% increase on last year. We've had 6,358 children who completed the challenge, another 5% increase on the previous year. 70% of children who were surveyed said that they were better readers because of this challenge, which is fantastic. We've had 314 volunteers who supported the challenge with over 1,168 volunteering hours. And we've had 286 events that took place across our library service with 5,705 children and 4,266 adults attending sessions. It just shows that our library service across this county is gold-plated and second to none, and I'm very proud of the work that our officers and our volunteers particularly are doing in this area. Moving on to country parks, following the successful recruitment of our country parks manager, we have a full capacity of country parks staff this year, and that means that work being undertaken in our countryside estate for the residents of Staffordshire remains a really, really strong focus for us, and plans going forward for our countryside estate in the next few years are looking very favourable. And finally from me, the construction of our wonderful history centre, which is going to house all our archives for the county, is on track to open soon. We've got construction progress continuing with some areas showing a very slight delay on the programme. We've got some refurbishment work on the Staffordshire Record Office. That's progressing very well. The separation of the William Salt Library building is almost complete. The total engagement figures for all activities and consultation from October to December was nearly 900 people, and we really expect to open the History Centre in autumn of this year. And this is really, really positive news for our county, because not only do we get to preserve the history of our county and allow people to share in it, of course we're also bringing a fantastic new offer and a new place to visit in Eastgate in Stafford, bringing great visitor economy to the area, and that's due to open in autumn of this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson, and I'm delighted how insanely accurate you are with your numbers. 4,266, not 67 or 65, but 66, which is finance next for you, Councillor Wilson, I feel. Councillor DeVille.
Yeah, thank you, Leader. You'll know, colleagues, that I am constantly and totally focused on achieving best value for our Staffordshire taxpayers through the considerable and massive contracts that we operate, both best value and best customer service. And I'm bringing a report later in this meeting, Chairman, that addresses this important aspect of best value. With regard to property, as Councillor Wilson said, we've got some really exciting property projects. The History Centre, you're right, Councillor Wilson, is massively exciting. It remains on track for delivery. And not only will it boost our rich history within this county, but will also be a massive boost to the town centre and an economic boost to the town centre as well. We've got three very exciting new schools projects with new primary schools at Beaconside, Amington and Dunstall Farm on track for delivery this year in September. So that will provide great facilities to give the best start for our young people. And there are exciting projects right across the county. The Burnt Wood Health Centre will provide a state-of-the-art facility and a one-stop shop for all health requirements, and that is proceeding as per programme. If I may very briefly, Leader, just comment on the Deputy Leader's comments early on economic development across the county. Deputy Leader focused really on increasing tourism numbers and increasing the number of jobs in Staffordshire. And if I may just mention the range of support schemes that we have, and it's fantastic that for small local businesses, 624 businesses were supported through this start-up process. So that is a real positive, isn't it, for small businesses? So it's another example, Chairman, of this council looking and focusing on the things that really matter to people and the things that really enrich people's lives.
Thank you, Councillor DeVille, and thank you to Cabinet colleagues for your input there. I'd just like to say a personal thanks to the communications team who help us get this message across to the people of Staffordshire. There's a lot of good stuff going on, but there's also a candid recognition of the challenges we face, as you've heard set out this morning. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to move the recommendation, which is a rather succinct one, that we note and challenge performance and advise of any further information and or action required, which I think we've done. All those in favour of the recommendation? Agreed. Okay. Moving forward to agenda item number 11, which is the adoption of revised civil contingency policy and new business continuity management policy for Staffordshire County Council. Ladies and gentlemen, when things go wrong, members of the public quite rightly ask, why didn't they think of that and anticipate the thing going wrong? Our role here at the County Council is to make sure we have a civil contingency policy that's kept continually up to date and a business continuity management policy that allows us to make sure that those people who need to be cared for will get care in the event that something goes wrong. We see those things going wrong frequently, don't we, in the public sector? IT systems that crash. We have industrial action, which means that we sometimes have to change the way in which we deliver services for people. But this policy here sets out what our response is to those sort of circumstances. It's a detailed report. I don't intend to go through it line by line, but it is, of course, open to everybody. That's not just members of the Cabinet, members of the Council, but also wider members of the public to just reflect on what we're publishing here. And if there's anything you think we've missed, please do say so. To give you an illustration of what sometimes we think we might miss, is that in November 2019, I went to the Lichfield Science Society annual lecture that was undertaken by one Professor Jonathan Van Tam. That was November 2019. The subject of the lecture was what we would do in response to an influenza pandemic. And I went to that lecture because I was then the Cabinet Member for Health and Care, and I thought I really need to know what the government's response would be to an influenza pandemic. Wind forward 4 months, and we had COVID. The thing about the influenza pandemic lecture was it never anticipated a pandemic that wasn't an influenza-based pandemic. But that's what we got. So we can't second guess everything that might happen, but we can certainly anticipate a few things and try and articulate them in a way that people can recognise that we've actually thought about these things in preparation for an incident taking place. So we work closely with the police, fire, district councils and health to make sure that we have emergency plans in place. Those plans are constantly being tested, reviewed and updated to make sure they remain fit for purpose. And those tests involve exercises involving many people across police, fire, other local authorities and our senior teams here. The report asks Cabinet to agree our policy approach for dealing with emergencies and sets out the 3 key outcomes that we will seek to achieve if an emergency should happen. Primarily to safeguard people and assets, as you'd expect, to maintain business critical services and to restore full services as soon as practically possible. Unless there are any questions or there's something that we've missed in the report and you go, oh, you haven't thought of this. And given the fact that we've been through this a few times, ladies and gentlemen, I hope we haven't got to that point today. I'll go straight to the Councillor Wilson. Is there something you've thought about and not telling me? No? I'll go straight to the recommendations, which are that Cabinet approves the Civil Contingencies Policy V6 attached, and Cabinet approves the Business Continuity Management Policy V1 attached. They are the 2 recommendations. All those in favour?
Agreed.
Agreed. Excellent. That is unanimous. Moving then to the Equalities, Diversity and Inclusion Progress Update. Again, this is a regular report that's brought to Cabinet. The report attached, the Equalities, Diversity and Inclusion Delivery Plan, reviews our progress in 2023 and provides proposed areas of focus for 2024 to further strengthen our approach to promoting equality, diversity and inclusion both within the organisation and across Staffordshire. I don't intend to go through this report in any detail, but Cabinet colleagues, you've had the opportunity to look at it. Were there any questions that you had before I go straight to the recommendations? In which case I will go straight to the recommendations. That we note the progress of the Council's work to further strengthen its approach to equality, diversity and inclusion, including the delivery of the action plan. We note the Council's gender pay gap report and workforce profile as reported in April 2023, and provide comments and feedback on the emerging priorities for 24-25 as part of the Council's continued commitment to promote equality, diversity and inclusion. All those in favour?
Agreed.
Okay, it is approved. Now, we're moving on to probably the most highly anticipated part of the Cabinet meeting, which is the procurement of gas supplies. Councillor Mark Deville, you are the purveyor of gas, or hot air, Cabinet Member for Commercial Matters, and we're with you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Extremely important report, Chairman. It's essential that all of our contracts bring the best options for this council and deliver best value for our Staffordshire taxpayers. This report is of tremendous commercial importance. I'll just give you a feel for the importance of this report, Leader. Total amount of money that we spend annually on our gas usage is 7.4 million. Considerable amount of money. That's about 2.4 million for our maintained schools and our corporate estate, and about 5 million for our academies, our work with police, fire and other partners such as district councils. So we're talking about a considerable amount of money. And we obviously need the very, very best value for our money. Energy market conditions have presented several challenges, of course, over the past 2 years. And we've all seen these challenges with our own household energy requirements and our own bills. I'd like to take the opportunity, colleagues, to thank to any options. And following these detailed considerations, the recommendation is to move our gas purchasing framework from Yorkshire Purchasing Organisation, the existing framework that we work with, to Crown Commercial Services. This is for the period from the 1st of April 2025 through to the 31st of March 2029. Now, we are, colleagues, required to serve 12 months' notice to Yorkshire Purchasing Group. Hence, that's why I'm bringing the report and this recommendation this morning. So during the extremely volatile time that we've had for energy prices, Crown Commercial Services have adapted well and have responded in a very positive way to changes in the market. They have a dedicated account team to review and carefully monitor the market and liaise with the suppliers. The preferred supplier to this framework is Total Energy Gas and Power Limited. So after carefully considering other framework partners, CCS really stood out. They offer tailored procurement frameworks offering efficiency, flexibility and best value to the Staffordshire taxpayer. I gained further confidence actually from CCS as I've seen evidence that during the extremely challenging period during the energy crisis, they required no government assistance whatsoever, as their rates that they procured had all been below the energy cap for gas. So our preferred framework provider has a proven track record, and I'm happy to bring these recommendations today, Chairman. If there are any questions, I'm happy to take them. If not, I'll go to the recommendation, Chairman.
Councillor Tagg.
Thank you, Leader. Not a question, just a comment, really. I think, obviously, we're looking to reduce our carbon emissions to net zero, and there's a prop in the report. It mentions the programme of reducing energy consumption and therefore the reliance on gas and heating sources. But I think we still know there is a requirement to heat our buildings, to use energy, and at the moment, gas is the only option to use, and we will see that being phased out over the future. But I think this is part of our, sensible approach to climate change. We do what we can we move forward at stages, and as we've talked about, we've reached 50% in our emissions as a county council. But I think the potential for green gas is limited availability at the moment, so we have to continue to do business as usual, which our residents will want us to see. And I think they'll endorse that approach that is set out in the report. And I do urge members to read the climate change implications as well on this, and see that we are heading in a direction. I think we will. As technology increases, as the use of green gas comes forward, that we will be phasing out the use of the gas, the dirty gas. Thank you.
Councillor Price.
Yeah, obviously we've just refurbished the St Leonard's site, or the Kingston Centre now, and it's a new primary school, but we phased gas out there as well, so they're using air source heat pumps. Another school, of course, is the all-through school in Rugeley, which will be also completely gas-free too. So the technology's there, and we are certainly moving forward. Councillor Tagg.
Councillor Wilcox.
Thank you, Leader. Just a general question to Councillor DeVille, whether or not there's an opportunity in the future for our districts and boroughs perhaps to join into any sort of contract agreement with this company going forward, if the numbers are such that we've got sort of the rest of the districts and boroughs on board, whether or not we get a better deal. And I just wonder whether there's an opportunity in the contract for that to happen in the future, and any dialogue we can have with the districts and boroughs.
Councillor DeVille, back to you with answers to questions and the recommendations, please.
The 2 points I'll broach there, Chairman. Absolutely, Councillor Wilcox. We encourage districts to get on board with us. If nothing else, that gives us greater economies of scale. Some districts are on board, and we do work with other partners like the police and the fire. So the more partners that we work with, the better it is, both for ourselves as the purchasing organisation and for our partners. So absolutely we will, yeah. And of course, Chairman, we have no complacency whatsoever as we look to new technologies, new future technologies and greener technologies. That is very, very much on our agenda all the time. No complacency whatsoever with reviewing the usage of gas and moving to more green technologies. If I may then, Chairman, I will bring today's recommendation that we award a contract for the supply of gas and associated services to Total Energies Gas and Power Limited for the period from the 1st of April 2025 to the 31st of March 2029, using the Crown Commercial Services framework.
You've heard the recommendations. All those in favour?
Agreed.
That's agreed. Right, the next item on the agenda is contract for the supply of electricity for street lighting and intelligent transport systems, brought to you by the Cabinet Member for Highways and Transport, Councillor Williams.
Thank you, Leader. I'm very pleased to bring this report to Cabinet today, especially as we know that from effective management from this administration, we've currently been able to convert 47,000 lights to LEDs, saving £2.8 million in energy costs and reducing our carbon footprint by 1,392 tonnes. We now wish to continue this with a further 13,900 lamps to change over. This report, therefore, is here to establish approval for procurement, again with the Crown Commercial Services Energy Framework and their flexible purchasing model to gain the best value for the purchase of electricity from the supplier EDF Energy for energy supply for the street lighting and the ITS assets for the period of April 2024 to March 2028. Following a framework comparison, it was the recommendation of the Council's commercial team and in Trust's energy management team, the Council continue with the current provider, Crown Commercial Services Energy Flexible Purchasing Framework from that same period. The tendering process was completed and complies with the PCR of 2015 and was advertised and awarded in accordance with said recommendations. The climate change implications with this procurement revolve around the conservation of renewable fuel and power, and this contract will allow 100% green energy to be used, and upon the rewarding of the contracts and securing a volume of energy, a REGO certificate will therefore be issued. Throughout the contract, a significant volume of street lighting lanterns will be converted to LED with an Invest to Save programme, and this will, again, as I say, enable us to reduce the amount of carbon, although the cost implications due to the difference in energy prices that we are now procuring the actual energy from is slightly different. In terms of the ITS assets, existing halogen signal heads are currently being converted to LED. All signal heads are planned to be converted to LED by April 2025. Due to the smaller volume of energy consumption at these types, the conversion, again, doesn't offer the same scale of cost and energy savings as the street lighting LED conversions do, but there are still considerable benefits, particularly regarding ongoing maintenance. Happy to take any questions prior to the recommendations, Leader.
I'm looking around and no one's indicating, so you've nailed it first time round, Councillor Williams. Well done. Back to you with further recommendations, please.
Thank you. So from the recommendations, I recommend that Cabinet approve the approach for procuring, awarding and entering into an electricity and associated service contract through the Crown Commercial Service Framework for the period from April 24 until the 31st of March 2028 with EDF Energy for street lighting and intelligent transport systems assets. I so move.
You've heard the recommendations. All those in favour? Agreed. That is unanimous. Moving forward then to approving that the Director for Economy, Infrastructure and Skills, in consultation with the Director for Corporate Services, be given authority to contract with the West Midlands Combined Authority to deliver green solutions in associated with the pilot BEAS programme. Member for Health and Care, Councillor Wilcox. Moving forward to April, in public, Children and Young People's Emotional Health and Wellbeing Service, brought to you by the Cabinet Member for Children and Young People, Councillor Sutton. Review of local authorities' social care case management systems, brought to you by the Cabinet Member for Children and Young People, Councillor Sutton, and the Cabinet Member for Health and Care, Councillor Wilcox. In private, in April, unregulated placement update, brought to you by the Cabinet Member for Children and Young People, Councillor Sutton. In public, in May, roofing framework agreement, brought to you by the Cabinet Member for Commercial Matters, Councillor DeVille. Community Learning Accountability Agreement 24-25, brought to you by the Deputy Leader of the Council and Cabinet Member for Economy and Skills, Councillor White. Digital Innovation Strategy for Staffordshire County Council, brought to you by the Cabinet Member for Finance and Resources, Councillor Parry. Supported Living Commissioning Update, brought to you by the Cabinet Member for Health and Care, Councillor Wilcox. And I think that's enough to be going on with. So, ladies and gentlemen, there are no items in confidential. So with that, the meeting